explain. I've already explained with eventually I'll post. I don't think I posted any of it yet. How it works with Xähü's victims. Physically, you already believe you are able to read and see how terrible it is, and you already know how bad it is that they're going through. But you're not able to feel within what they feel. And what they feel is so much worse than what we're seeing. You have to remember that. That is why it's so horrific. You're reading something and it already sounds like one of the, if not the worst fate you've ever read in fiction. You know of Stephen King's works, you know of SCPs, you know of I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, and you compare that to this and you see, you're like, okay, whoa, like these fates are so bad, they seem much worse than that, and it's not even over. What the victims are experiencing physically, we are reading it and we're able to remember that there's limitations. Usually there's rules. Physical pain that human beings can feel is eventually maximized. There's a ceiling. Xähü removes that ceiling. He makes it infinitely worse. And I'm not even talking infinite. He amplifies the maximum amount of pain that a human being can feel by trillions, quadrupled, multiplied by septillions, by billions. And billions is a smaller number. I'm saying billions simply to get you an idea that you can relate to how big of a number that is. And it doesn't stop. It never, he removes the barrier for desensitization. He removes that within humans. There is no way of coping. There's zero coping mechanism. Every coping mechanism is removed. There's no chance for hope. If it hurts you more to understand what's happening to you, he will allow you to understand. If it hurts you more to be confused, he will make you confused. If whatever fates is the worst possible outcome that can be optimized and placed into, he will do it, and he will do it wrongly in a way that feels just not perfect enough. And it is so wrong what happens to these characters. It's just so bad because we're already reading it, and when you read it, you're like, whoa, like that is some messed up stuff, dude. And we understand, we're able to, make some kind of estimate as to what they're going through, but we don't fully comprehend it. What they feel internally is so much worse. The pain that they feel is so much worse because everything is amplified. Imagine slipping up and you get a paper cut, and suddenly that paper cut, it's so much worse than any other paper cut you've ever had before. It feels like somebody took a rusty razor with blood on it, covered in HIV, and they just start slicing your finger open, and it was red hot, but it's not hot enough to burn your sensations, to burn the nerve endings. Just below that, enough to where you can feel the searing pain of that heat, but not necessarily hot enough to sterilize. It's a disgusting, mucky, red, brown, green vomit. And it's getting inside of that cut, and it keeps getting bigger, infecting every little thing inside your capillaries, popping, each of them regrowing with rot. And it continues to get worse and worse and worse. And it's endless. And this is only mild. It gets so much worse. Take all your fears. You have a phobia of clowns. Somehow reality distorts it to where that phobia You feel it in your fingertips as the nails are going underneath your fingertips, in underneath your nail beds, and it gets so more gruesome. And I'm not capable to say off the top of my head. I have to think it and type it and write it in order to create the idea that I'm trying to implement to you, to get you to understand at least a small percentage of what I am trying to communicate with you. My way of speaking, just, it feels confusing. And that's kind of the goal. It's to disorient you. And we're going to rewind back a bit. If you know what psychedelics are, this is a whole different topic. They can make you feel things extremely. I'm not recommending it. I did not recommend it at all. But there's an experience that you feel if you're ever under the influence of these that cannot really be described through words. There's no communication barrier that allows you to effectively communicate what you feel. Xähÿ is kind of a more amplified, worse version of that. I would say look more into deliriants like Datura and Xähü those are real life things, by the way. Never touch them. Not only do I not recommend, right, I am telling you to never touch deliriants. They are very bad. But these things, they impact the mind in a way that makes you feel different from what you've ever felt before. And it's a very small opening to see into this world. People who know what I'm talking about know what I mean when I bring up these things as examples. Because with Xähÿ, what he amplifies in feeling, it's a difficult thing to capture in words, but I try my very best, and I think I do at least a decent, effective job at it. The idea of removing the ceiling, I think that's very effective, but mentally, psychologically, things are so much worse. Your reality, everything that you ever knew gets erased, and you forget who you were, but you want to remember who you were. And that wanting, that longing is what makes the pain even worse. You know that you were something, anything. You don't know what human is anymore, but you know that you were something, and you don't know what, but you want to grasp onto it. You wish you could share this experience with something else, something to grasp onto, any type of coping mechanism, even relying on your own mind, even relying on your ego, even relying on yourself to pull yourself out of this, relying on your own mind, your own brain to pull yourself out, to cope. He erases all traces of those abilities to do so. That's why Xähÿ is so bad. There's no coping mechanism, there's no defense, nothing. Even physical pain doesn't end. He rewrites nature's law. He occurs the laws, the vow that was built to protect you of life. And it's not so much an entity, right? So you can't even say he. But these are the things that define why Xähÿ is so bad. Even with things like Ted from I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, when he becomes that sludge thing, he at least can still rely on his own mind, and he still retains memories of his past self. Although the gruesome nature of knowing what you are and that you're no longer human is terrifying, Xähÿ can do the same thing and make it so much worse. And it can mess with your mind in ways that are never written about. And so that's me making my comparisons, even though I don't need to. It's fun to share and to see if I can actually make the worst villain, most vile villain ever written in existence.